Great. I think we can get started. Today, we'll be talking about SEO or search engine optimization, something I wasn't super familiar with 3 years ago. Now I know a lot thanks to Christina. So she'll introduce herself in a second. But she's our marketing director. I get the pleasure of working with her on our marketing team. I'm Emily, and I do media and brand management here. But I'm going to let Christina, who will be really the bulk of this conversation today, share about herself. And just as a reminder, if you have questions during the session, go ahead and ask them in the chat and we will get to them. And we're excited to talk about this. So Christina, off to you.
Awesome. Well, let's dive right in. First, a little info about Taste the Local Difference. In case anybody here isn't super familiar with us, we are a local food marketing agency specializing in effective marketing strategies for farms and specialty producers and restaurants and grocery stores, really anybody in the local food scene who is producing or selling local food. Yeah, we'll talk more about that as we go through the presentation, I'm sure. As Emily mentioned, my name is Christina Marbury. I'm the marketing director here at Taste the Local Difference, and that means that I spend my day working with local food business owners, so farmers and all of those good folks we just talked about, to help them improve their marketing. So I manage our team that offers these marketing services. So I work with folks directly and support our team in doing so as well. My background is a really good mix for this job. It's a mix of food systems work and marketing work. So I have worked on farms. I've managed farmers markets, done cooking and garden education with kids, and I used to manage locally focused school fundraisers. So I've really worked kind of across the spectrum of different types of businesses in this space. And then I also spent 4 years working at a digital marketing agency that worked with more big national brands, and 7 years freelancing doing similar work. But when I worked for the agency, my main role was in SEO and content marketing. So this is definitely one of my big wheelhouses. Yeah, and so with TLD, I've worked directly with farms and food businesses on their marketing efforts for at least 4 years. Which feels wild that it's already been so long. So we're going to dive into search engine optimization. Hopefully all of you have at least a little bit of an idea of what it is coming in here, but we're really going to start with the basics to help everyone understand, because I think it's something that everyone sort of knows they should be thinking about, but doesn't necessarily know what to do to get started. So SEO, as we will be referring to it from here on out, is all about making your website visible on search engines. When talking about SEO, most people will focus really heavily on Google, because Google is about 90% or more of the searches that happen online. But most of the search engines use very similar tactics or algorithms for how they determine who shows up in the search results where. And so using Google's kind of set of standards is usually a good way to make sure that you're doing the best you can across all of the various search engines. So why this matters is, I don't know if any of you have ever tried to find a small business online, searched their business name, or searched for like local beets near me or something along those lines, and not had a lot of success, or had it be really hard to find the business you were looking for. It was probably because they didn't have great SEO. So what it does is it makes your products more accessible, more easy for people to find. It allows customers to find your business. It helps you to show up, like we said, higher up in those search results for more general terms like farm near me or something along those lines. And it also just makes it, I think, so your business feels more legitimate, because I know if somebody searches a business name and doesn't find a lot of information online, they might think like, oh, maybe that business closed, or maybe I was confused and they don't really exist, and they'll just move on to something new. So SEO, what you're looking for. This is an example of a farm that we have done some work with, Lakeview Hill Farm up in Traverse City. They have, I think, pretty solid SEO. They have a great marketing presence. They're a great follow if you're ever looking for good farms to follow on social media. But they show up in the search results as the first thing there. This main piece here is the title tag. It's purple here because we've clicked their link before, but it's typically blue if you haven't clicked the link before. That's the title tag, and then this gray text is the meta description underneath it. So they have all their pages are listed out there. Their other platforms also rank high in the search results. So I think like a well-optimized business, you'll have, if you search their business name, you will see their business's website is the first thing that shows up. And then, yeah, their social pages, Instagram, Facebook, the Taste the Local Difference directory listings often show up pretty high in the search results as well. Basically all things that have to do with their farm or their business specifically. And then over here on the right, you have their Google business listing. So within Google, anytime you search for a business, or if you search for, like restaurants near me or farm to table restaurants near me, for those, you're going to get a map with a listing of businesses next to it that we call the local pack. That information also comes from your Google business listing, which is what you see when you search for the business name specifically. So they have a verified business listing. We'll talk more about what that means later on. And it has all of the basics about their business, their location, their hours, contact information, basic understanding of what you offer, and also important reviews. So they also have folks who have reviewed their business. You can see up here, they've got 5-star reviews from 24 reviews. So a good start to having those that people call it social proof, that folks saying that they've been there and they enjoyed it really makes a difference as well. So this is the goal. And then, as you get further along, then you really want to show up for if people are searching for those broader keywords as well, not just your business name. So
I'm going to say something about this slide.
Yeah.
Just so I'm not trying to blast North Michigan Healthy Food Project. We're actually in conversation with them about a summit they were doing. And my task was to get the word out. But I had a really difficult time pointing where people should go. So we're in conversations with them. But this is just an example of something that's really awesome and we want people to know about, but it's really hard to find. So that is, a little precious.
Thanks for that shout out. So just an example of, an organization that has some work to do. They don't have a website. They don't have an Instagram presence. They don't have a business listing. So they do have their Facebook page that shows up at the top of the search results, which is a great start. But there's obviously more that could be there for people to get a full picture of who they are and what they do. All right, so the first section of this presentation, we're going to talk about local SEO, because I assume all of you and most of the businesses that we work with are really mostly trying to connect with people who live in their community or are visiting their community. So it's not like somebody's searching blue sneakers trying to find, the best shoes on the internet to order online. It's more people looking for a business to go and support in person or a business that's in their community. So local SEO is especially important, I think, for farmers and food businesses. So we're going to focus there to start. When we think about local SEO, we aren't even getting to your website yet. Right now, we're just focused really first and foremost on the listings that are out there in the world. So we're going to go through these other ones, but some examples might be that Google business listing, the TLD directory listing, your social media profiles, Yelp, if you have a Chamber of Commerce listing, anywhere that you have your business information out there in the world, it is really, really important that your NAP, as it is often referred to in the SEO world, your name, address, and phone number are identical across all of those listings. So not only do you want to make sure that they have all of the good information about your business, you want to make sure that you always refer to yourself in the same way. Using Lakeview Hill Farm and Market as an example, they use, now I'm totally blanking. They use an ampersand in their name. But like if you use an ampersand versus spelling out the word and, you want to make sure that that is exactly the same everywhere that you're referring to your business. And that helps the internet understand that all of those things are related. Same with having the exact same address and the exact same phone number. That comes down to like using RD as an abbreviation for road or spelling out road. Just choose a way and do it the same way everywhere you have your information listed. So as we talked about a little bit already, this is what a Google business listing looks like. You have photos at the top, those reviews, you have the type of business that you are. So there's categories of businesses that you can choose from. They're noted as both small business and a local food store. You can also do like grocery, organic farm, local farm, there's so many options and you can choose both a primary business type and as quite a few, maybe even as many as you want secondary business types. So making sure that you select the right business types for your business is really important. Really, whatever is the best fit from the options, choose as your primary one, and then any that seem relevant to what you offer, select them all as your secondary. And then, address, hours. You can also list your hours as by appointment. So say you have a business where you mostly go to farmers markets or wholesale your product and you don't have a store or a farm stand or anything on your property, you can list your hours as by appointment. So folks know you can visit, but you can't just show up. Your phone number, as I mentioned, the address and phone number, the same everywhere you are. And then reviews are definitely another big piece of this. I like to encourage people to ask for reviews. I know that it's not always fun to ask for things from your customers, but anyone who loves your business is probably going to be happy to leave you a review. You can, if you have email marketing or social channels, you can put out requests in those places like, hey, we'd love for you to leave us a review. It's a great way to support our business. Just ask. And if you ask, most people will, or some of the people that you reach out to will end up coming and leaving a review. All right. One other thing I want to call out on the Google business listing, because I think it's one that a lot of people don't know about, is this section over here called questions and answers. Anybody can come to your profile and ask a question, and you'll get a notification that somebody asked a question, and then you can answer it. Also, the general public can answer the questions as well. So if you see one come through, try and answer it as quickly as possible. And you can also go in, just find your business on the Google search results and click the ask a question button and add your own questions and then go and answer them, which is a great way to fill your profile with great information about your business and answer frequently asked questions that people might end up calling you about if you don't have the information there. For anyone who doesn't have a Google business listing, it is as easy as Googling Google business listing, going to that website. I think it's business.google.com, but don't quote me on that exactly. And then you put in your information, and there is often a verification process you have to go through. If you have an email address with your domain, you usually don't have to worry about it. Sometimes they'll mail you a postcard. There's a few different ways you verify you own the business. Also, if one of these listings shows up, you can click this little own this business ? Button, and it will help you verify and get access to that listing so you can keep it updated. One other thing, there's so many, I could do an entire hour on Google business listings. If you do have hours, please keep them up to date. If you're going to close for a holiday or because you're going to take a vacation for a week or something, put that information on your Google listing, because people get very frustrated when they rely on it and then you're not open when you say you're going to be open. So just a little call out, make sure everything's accurate as best as you possibly can. I'm going to go through these other ones pretty quickly because I don't think they're quite as important, but just some other examples. We use the TLD directory just because we like to give it a good shout out. If your business isn't listed there and you're in Michigan, it's a great place to list your business. But there are lots of directories out there online. So just making sure that you keep consistent information across all of those directories. Make sure you have a nice description that describes who you are, what you offer, why people should buy from you, and if you can, also where to find your business. So social profiles also fall kind of in this local SEO category. Facebook particularly, I think has, you can have your basically all the information you can have on your Google business listing, you can have on your Facebook profile as well, your hours, reviews, all of those things. So trying to keep that updated with the same information as well. And again, that address, phone number, and how your business is named is really important as well. On your Instagram profile, it doesn't have quite the same, reviews and hours and that sort of functionality, but making sure you have a good description of your business, your address, you can list your hours in your profile so folks know, and then always making sure in all of these places that you're linking back to your website as well. That will really help your website do well in the search results, having it linked from all of these various listings out there in the world. And then finally, Yelp. I think a lot of people don't consider this one as much or think about it as much, but there are a lot of people out there who still use Yelp regularly. And Yelp listings do show up pretty high in the search results. So also just try and make sure you keep all that information updated here as well. I will give a quick shout out. There are services out there that will do this for you. You put all your information in one place and it makes sure it's accurate everywhere across the internet. They are not necessarily cheap. I think the cheapest ones are like around 20 bucks a month for one location. But something to consider if you have a lot on your plate and the budget to manage that. All right, so those are like your local listings basics as far as getting your business out there in the world. Now we're going to talk a bit about websites and what you should think about on your website when it comes to SEO. And still local SEO too. So a website is really important. I think that small businesses especially sometimes think like, oh, well, it has social media, so I don't really need a website. But I always like to remind people that a website is the only thing online that you really own. Facebook and Instagram and Google own your business listings and your social media profiles, and you can lose access to them. So having something that is your own online that gives people everything they need to know about your business can be really, really, really valuable. It doesn't have to be extensive. It can be a single page with all the basics. And you can grow it as you have the ability to grow it. So these are a few screenshots. We really just went hard with the Lakeview Hill example here. So we're staying consistent across everything. But that same information we talked about, the business name, the location, the hours, the address, all of that information should be on your website as well. And you should repeat it. Anybody going to your website should know very quickly where you're located and what markets you serve. Maybe you have a farm and your farm is 45 minutes outside of downtown Detroit, but you go to all the Detroit markets and the Metro Detroit markets. You can say we're a Metro Detroit farm, even though your farm itself might not be located in that town. If that's the town that you serve, make sure to call that out on social, particularly if it's a bigger city, because there are 100% going to be people searching for Detroit farms or Grand Rapids farms. And really what they're looking for is farms who they can purchase from in that city, not necessarily farms that are located inside the city. We usually say every single page should note your location, the town name, the area you serve. A really easy way to do that is to put that information in the footer of your website, and then it will automatically be everywhere across your website. But make sure you refer to it regularly, and that's really going to help the algorithms understand where you're located and then show your website to people who are searching for your business type in your location. I called it out before, but also make sure you link to your website from all of those other profiles. I can't remember if I have a slide solely about this, but the reason we want those links from all of your various listings and your profiles is because one of the big things that determines how you rank is how many other websites are linking to your website. So the most you can go out there and make sure those links are out in the world, the better that your website's going to perform in the search results. All right. Lakeview's a good example here because they do have 2 locations. They are like, I don't know, 400 feet down the road from one another, but they do have different addresses. So they've made sure to call out those separate locations on their website as well, which you can do if you happen to have multiple locations. All right, so now we're going to get into some of the like nitty gritty of what you should have on your website. We're going to talk through keywords, content, and backlinks. So 3 focus areas. Again, we could go on for hours and hours and hours about this, but just trying to get you all the basic understanding of what you need to be thinking about. So I think when most people think about keywords, the number one thing, or when most people think about SEO, keywords are one of the big things that they often think about. A keyword is anything that people are typing into a search engine to look for something. A keyword could be, how do I cut open a banana squash? You know, that's something that people search out there. Maybe not banana squash specifically that frequently. That's a pretty low volume keyword. But you know, up through organic farm near me, organic farms in Ann Arbor, you know, apple farms in Ann Arbor, farm to table restaurants, all of those things are keywords. You can do research to determine what keywords people are searching. I do have a call out for it later. We use a tool called SEMrush. It does have a free option, but there are many, many tools out there online, and many of them do have free options that are limited, but usually enough for a small business. So if you are trying to determine what keywords you want your website to show up in the search results for, there's 3 main things that we look for. The first one is volume. All of these tools will give you an average volume per month for keywords. You generally want to find things that have volume. People are searching for them, but often keywords that have a little bit lower volume are going to be easier for small businesses to rank for. Most tools will also give you a number for difficulty. It's a little different depending on the tool. SEMrush, it's a number from 0 to 100, with 100 being the most difficult. And that means, how hard is it going to be for me to rank for this keyword? So for small businesses, I generally recommend they look for keywords that have like 40 or lower on the difficulty score. And that's going to make it easier for you to show up in the search results, as opposed to trying to target some keyword that, you know, the people who are ranking for it have massive websites that have been around for a really long time and might have like 3 people on staff who all they do is SEO. So we want to find keywords that are not too difficult, looking at that difficulty rating. And then we also want to make sure that they are relevant. So there's no point in trying to rank for a keyword that isn't super relevant to your business, isn't something that people are going to be looking for a business like yours when they search for it. So my banana squash example, if you don't grow banana squash, there's no point in writing a blog post for your website about how to cut a banana squash. All right, so here's my shout out to SEMrush. We are not a paid partner of theirs. We pay them money to use their service, but it's the SEO tool that I have always used, and I think it's a good one. It's pretty user-friendly. They have really good keyword research tool, and you can also look at your competitors to see what keywords they're ranking for as well, to get some ideas. They also have really good educational resources about SEO. So if you're looking for something, their free account is a good place to start. All right. So once you have that list of keywords that you want to target, then we start thinking about the actual content, the written words that are on our website. What is most important here is really that you're providing what customers want to see, or what users, what your ideal customers want to see. It used to be that you would like shove all the keywords on the page and you'd show up in the search results. But with AI and the advancements of technology, search engines can actually pretty much understand what you are trying to share on your site. So you want to make sure that you're providing value. Is your content addressing the needs and interests of your potential customers? If you think about like, okay, someone searching for, you pick apples in whatever town, what do they want to know? They want to know when you have apples and what kind of apples you have and how much they cost. Making sure you think about what people want to know and providing that valuable information on your website is the number one most important thing when you're thinking about your content. And then you want to make sure to include those keywords. It is important still to have the actual keyword you're trying to target on your page. We generally recommend first that you use them naturally in your content. I know I've used the example of near me a few times. You aren't going to write like a header that says, you pick apples near me. But when somebody searches near me, the search engines know where they're located, and then they're pulling things that are close to them. So most important is including those location identifiers. So in the town that you're in, or near whatever the big town that's closest to you might be. And then you want to make sure you include the keywords that you're targeting in the headers, the titles, the title tags, and at least once in your body copy. Don't just put them in there over and over again. Just make sure you use that exact phrase once. And then this last section here is about title tags and meta descriptions. I know I said it really quickly while we were looking at a search results page, but the blue link text in the search results is your title tag. All website platforms will have a place on the back end to put a title and a description for every page. You want to make sure your title has a keyword and, has the basic information of what people are going to find on that page. And then the meta description is the gray text that's underneath that link in the search results. And I like to think about that as more of just like the hook or the draw. It's good to put a keyword in there, but it's also more important to make it want people to click that page. So to give them a like, here's what you're going to find, or a little like fun tidbit about your business that will make them want to click and learn more. Awesome. So the next thing that is super important is backlinks. So if you're going to focus on SEO and you just have a little bit of time, those listings, getting some nice keywords in your content and your content providing value, and getting backlinks to your website. That's what I would focus on. So building this backlink profile will basically give credibility to your website. So it's telling Google or whatever search engine, look, all these other websites think my information matters, so you should show it to people. So basically what that is you just want other websites to link to your website. The ways that we typically recommend people do this, for local businesses specifically, you can partner with other local businesses. You could do, if folks have blogs, you can exchange blog posts, write a blog post for somebody that includes links to your website. You could co-host events and link back and forth to each other's websites. Sometimes people will do like collaborative gift baskets, or all sorts of things, recipes that use products from two different businesses, things like that. If you wholesale your products, I always recommend that you ask folks to link back to your website from theirs. A lot of, especially locally focused stores or restaurants, will have a suppliers list on their website where they list the folks whose products they're selling or using in their food. Asking them to link to your website can be really helpful. And then finally, engaging with local bloggers or other local media, whether it's giving them free product and, asking for them to review it or feature it on their site. That can be really helpful for those backlinks, and also just to get your product out there in front of new eyes and having a trusted voice in your community saying that you have a great product and it's worth purchasing. So all of these things I think are really valuable for SEO, but they also can help in the long run as well to get your business in front of more eyes. All right. This next slide is kind of a shout out for another service. It's not really a service, but a tool that you can use. Google Search Console is basically Google's platform for you to be able to communicate with them about your website. So you can see if you verify your site in there. If you just Google Search Console, it will get you to the right place. But you can understand, what keywords are people searching that your website showing up in the search results for, and how they're getting to your website. You'll get alerts if there's any tech issues on your site that Google has found that you should try to fix. It can help you also monitor those links from other pages to your page. It gives you just a lot of information about your site that you can then use to make it better. So I always encourage that folks sign up for a Google Search Console account whenever they have a website. All right, that was a lot of information. Only 1 minute over. I told Emily this is a lot to get through in 30 minutes, but I'm going to do my best. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A. We can hang out for a little bit in case any questions pop in there. If you're excited about SEO but want support, we do offer an SEO strategy as a service. It's generally about $1,500 depending on the size of your site, but we give you a really detailed list of everything you should focus on, do all the keyword research for you so you don't have to do it yourself. It is something that we're available to help with if anybody wants to go down that path. Emily, I'll hand it to you to give a shout out on some of the other things that we're up to.
Yeah, definitely. Just come out to our website. We've got a lot of free resources, which is exciting. Christina mentioned, and past and upcoming marketing webinars. So all of these are available on YouTube. These are some of the past topics. And next month we will be hosting Julius Buzzard from Growing Hope, talking about copywriting. They do a really great job at Growing Hope communicating their message. They've got a lot to communicate, so we're excited to talk to him. And you can register that. That registration link will be available soon, so just be on the lookout for it. And we appreciate y'all for coming by, and can't wait to see you next month. Awesome. Have a great day, everyone.
Have a great week.
Bye.